very pleasant evening to you out there. Thank you for joining us on another edition of the program National Talk on ECWA Television International. My name is Joyce Jakada. Tonight on National Talk, as Nigeria prepares for her 63rd Independence Day anniversary, socio-political analyst Honorable Amos Tongwe joined us to dissect Nigeria's journey to nationhood since 1960. It's nice to have you here. Good evening.
Good evening, viewers.
All right, I know it's not out of place to say happy independence since we are just counting some hours to that very event.
Yeah.
I remember growing up when it's when 1st October is approaching, like everyone will be like, where's your green, where's your white, because you have to wear it that day. Every shop owner, people that are into fashion want to display all the green and all the white ahead of the Independence Day celebration. But quickly, I would like us to begin with the statement by the Secretary General of the Federation talking about George Akume. On Monday, there was a press conference, and while in preparation to the 1st October anniversary, he talked about the fact that this time around the event is going to be low-key. They are not inviting any world leader, and then because of the current challenges that Nigeria is actually facing, talking about economic challenge, and which is due to the removal in fuel subsidy, inflation, and global economic downturn, unemployment. And while he was trying to express optimism, I'm really sure that was what inspired the team, Nigeria at 63, renewed hope for unity and prosperity. And obviously it's from the point of optimism. But my concern is about Nigerians out there, the average Nigerian. Like when you talk about optimism, when you talk about renewed hope for unity and prosperity, a lot of people will tell you on what ground, what is the yardstick for renewed hope for unity and then prosperity. I would quickly like us to actually watch him before you make your statement on that press statement that he gave. So let's watch the Secretary General of the Federation.
It's going to be low-keyed, but we're wishing Nigerians the best of luck, and I want to assure them that better days are coming pretty soon too. This is going to be low-keyed. We are not going on fantastic jamboree in the Eagle Square and other locations. It's a time for reflection. It's a time for all of us to think very, very deeply about us as a people and the journey forward. And this journey is being charted appropriately by the captain of the ship. It is not something that can be done overnight. This government came into being on the 29th of May, and we have a tenure of 4 years. So it will be inappropriate to begin to judge on the basis of a few months that we have spent in the office.
So that was the Secretary General of the Federation, George Akume, telling us that this time around the Independence Day celebration is going to be low-key due to global economic downturn, inflation, the removal of fuel subsidy, as well as unemployment. So there will be celebration, but low-key. Even though I've seen that some Nigerians, like some states, are saying, oh, we are not going to be observing or celebrating anything on that day. Maybe we should just organize prayers and all of that. So like I asked earlier on, the theme for this year's independence celebration is Nigeria at 63, renewed hope for unity and prosperity. What is your take on this?
First of all, I have to thank you for inviting me here. And I'm happy that you talk about the independence, on the 63 independence of Nigeria. To me, I want to speak on behalf as a Nigerian. Definitely, I have to tell you that there is hope for Nigerians. But the point right now, being watched the SSG talking about being in the low key of celebrating independence, then you know that there's a question mark. I expected to see independence celebration to be overwhelmingly everywhere, everybody's happy. And him himself is talking about saying that being a low key because of the economic meltdown whatsoever. Who are the cause of this economic meltdown? I think he need to give hope to the people. He's supposed to speak on behalf for we to have hope. We from the ground. So we should have hope in Nigerians that today we are celebrating Nigerians because we have seen what Nigerians have been doing, so that we'll go out and speak and celebrate more. They know that what they are doing in Nigeria is not stable. Global economic factors. Who are the cause? They are the cause. If you want to be a leader, you are ready to bring out things that will make Nigerians to be happy. Since we are celebrating 63, I've never seen anybody on the street saying that we are celebrating. If you should ask anybody in the street, you will tell that he doesn't know even like independence. I want to celebrate independence because he didn't say anything on ground. But let me tell you, the truth is, even a dog. That this saying that said that a dog will celebrate except he saw something on the ground for him. But now Nigerians are not seeing anything, and that's why they are ashamed to celebrate. Even when I was young, we used to celebrate all the schools, the primary school, the secondary school, the paramilitary and the militaries will all go on the playground and celebrate independence. Flags are everywhere. Everybody is showing every flags. Everybody is happy. But what about today? To me, it's a disappointment to this country. If this country will not celebrate independence, for everybody, for children to come out en masse and celebrate it, I think they have failed.
Well, I don't think it's a case of no celebration, but just on a low key. Because obviously, or apparently, even when you call for the celebration, how many people are going to turn out? Because some of the issues that he pointed out to, like the fuel subsidy removal, whether we like it or not, glaringly Nigerians are actually feeling the hardship caused by that. When you talk about transportation, the impact is not just felt on the transportation. When you go to market, also prices of things have actually gone up. So how many people want to proudly go to the street to say, yeah, we are happy that Nigeria is 63 uninterrupted independence, like we have been on our own for 63 years. So these are some of the factors that have been on place. No doubt, like you rightly said, these are things that can actually be fought. But before we talk about that, some of the challenges that over the years have bedeviled Nigeria as a nation is the issue of insecurity. And that has been a very big concern to a lot of Nigerians, because like the primary responsibility of every government is protection of lives and properties. It's so sad that today we live in a world that the life of the common man feels like nothing. You can just sleep, wake up, and you hear that somebody is slaughtered. You can just sleep, wake up, you hear that this person has been kidnapped. And if you're unable to pay the ransom, your loved one is being killed. So every day, even when you travel, gone are the days where people travel because it's leisure, because it's hobby. Today, when you say you are traveling, your family members are scared. They can't wait for you to say, oh, we just arrived safe and sound. Because our highways are filled with kidnappers. Bandits have almost occupied some part of the nation. Even though the federal government or the government will not want you to say that. But there are some communities, southeast, like you go to the far north, you hear all of these cases. Even within our own state here in Plateau State, there are cases where people sleep and then at the comfort of their home, they are being slaughtered, they are being killed. Recently, there was abduction in Zamfara State. Students, these are people that say, no, we don't want to become thugs. We want to go to school, learn and contribute to nation building. But in the school, they were kidnapped. Nasarawa Poly, there was also like some bandits stormed the school, shot some students and then kidnapped. In Benue State, the commissioner was also kidnapped. And then in southern Kaduna, this has almost been like a recurring incident. Slaughtering, attacks, killings, and all of that. We've had our own shares here in the plateau, Niger. Like you can go on listing, and then counting states, and then communities that have fallen victim of this. my question is exactly where did we get it wrong? And then what is the issue? Can this issue not be dealt with once and for all? Why is it that the issue of insecurity has continued to wax great in our country today? When the chief of staff were actually appointed, there were a lot of hope, a lot of optimism. Oh, based on their track record, Nigeria, there was like a sign of relief. But every day you wake up is one issue or the other. Where did we get it wrong?
Thank you for this question. Security is paramount and is sacrosanct. But when you talk of security, you have to define what is security. Security is to protect the life, interests, and properties of the citizens. Using an apparatus to see that you secure your own people. But where you ask the question, where have we gone wrong? Number one, leadership. Leadership is the problem. Some of the days, if you watch on TV, you will find out that even the security themselves, the military themselves, if they bought a plane in which they will use to operate, they will come on the social media and say that they bought a jet. And do you think these bandits are not listening? If the thief want to come to your house, he will be more wiser than you. He will be watching you, your movement. And when you bought a plane, you say you bought a plane. And some of the thing is this: when we want to even recruit people, we don't look at the data. Where do they come from? Where are they? Because I know days back, some of these Boko Haram are people that have been trained during recruitment of army. After they have trained, they will leave the army. So what are you telling us? So that's to me, that's what we call comprehensive. They're compromising. Because if there's no compromising, just recently there's a video that in Fulanis in a big community, they are on their bikes with AK-47 on their chest, and a security man was telling his own colleagues that the Fulanis are going, that they shouldn't stop them.
Are you sure that was not doctored? Because there are a lot of videos on social media that
as far as we're concerned, Jakada, what we see, because democracy is what you see and touch. There's nothing like fake there. If it is doctored, okay, where do they even snap them on their back with guns? And saying that they should leave them to move. That's conspiracy. And when we want to recruit our people, we don't recruit to see what kind of people we are recruiting. So you see, where we get wrong is this: we don't have data to see which kind of people we are going to recruit to become security personnel. Number two, all these killings, I've seen are killings. Have you ever heard that someone has been arrested and persecuted? Once if you commit a crime and nobody persecute you, then you are telling that person to continue doing it. Does that mean that the other people in Nigeria that are second class citizens, other as first class? I will use the example with me. I'm from Irigoland. Just day for yesterday, 3 of my people have been killed. And there's nothing you can say or do. But when you talk about it, it becomes a problem. So how can you curtail security? The point is, look at this administration. Even the Minister of Defense and the State Minister of Defense, these are former governors of Zamfara and Jigawa, given a Minister of Defense. Even when they are governors, what have they done to curtail the security? No security background. And you're giving somebody a portfolio that doesn't have any security background. How do you expect him to operate? So we are making caricature of ourselves. Look, if you check the videos of all these Zamfara students, you find out that it was done in the main town. As far as I'm concerned, this is the first time. I stand to be corrected. This is the first time the operation such like this has been occurred in a town, in the town of Zamfara. So,
well, there was actually security intervention, but of course the exchange of gunfire and all of that, they still went away with the abducted student, even though you know that it's almost like a case of the person with more power takes over. But again, I would just like us to actually go on a quick break. We're talking about the issues. Nigeria, ahead of Nigeria's 63rd independence, there are actually a lot of issues on ground. The point of change is the point of taking responsibilities. And until we identify some of the issues that are taking us backward, if we're independent, there should be some forms of improvement, of growth that is being witnessed. But with all of these challenges that are bedeviling Nigerians, no wonder the mood. Some people will tell you, oh, there's actually 1st of October, there's actually celebration. We do not know that what's the yardstick for the renewed hope and all of that. But we'll continue the conversation right after this break. So viewers, stay with us. Us on National Talk here on ECWA Television International. And in case you're just joining us, we have been discussing ahead of Nigeria's 63rd independence anniversary. Of course, it is the journey of nationhood since 1960. But what are the challenges that have kept us stuck, stagnant, and even backward? Of course, the point of change is the point of taking responsibility. And Honorable Amos have been doing justice to the issues so far. So stay with us. Thank you. Before we went on the break, we're actually talking about the issue of insecurity. And like I said earlier on, this is an area that if not dealt with, we can never talk about growth or development. Because whenever there is development, one step ahead or 10 steps ahead, if there's any issue of insecurity, it takes us like 10 steps backward. And it is really sad that you live in a nation you call your own, yet you keep counting scores of lost loved ones that you lose by day, either to banditry, to kidnapping, or to just some random attacks, killings of innocent people. Now, like I asked earlier on, where do we actually get it wrong? Because it's almost like from this particular state or location to another. And in most cases, these things are even announced. You hear the members of the community telling you that some people came and told us that they will come in the night. Or you find out that in the same community where an attack takes place today, the next day, these people do it continuously, and then they are not apprehended. It's always unknown gunmen, bandits that do not have faces. So, like, what is the way out talking about this issue of insecurity?
Truly, insecurity is something that we need to take charge of it. As I talked earlier, if somebody commits crime and he has been persecuted or she has been persecuted, that crime will reduce to minimum. But when you commit crime and there's no head rolled, what are you sending to those that are committing it? You ask a question, where have you gone wrong? Most of these attacks, we find out that it is the outsiders that attack the indigenous people. Does that mean that those that are attacked, they are not welcome in that community? Or those that accommodated them as strangers are fools? The only thing that I will say here is this: let the law take place. Anybody that commits crime, let it be persecuted. If he is persecuted, then definitely he will lose to minimum.
I think that has always been the call for Nigerians, or of Nigerians, talking about prosecution, dealing with perpetrators, because most times it looks like the perpetrators are the ones that are being having the good treatment. We've had instances where you hear that, oh, rehabilitation of Boko Haram members that have surrendered while the victims languish in IDPs. So it's almost making crime like so attractive to people, because if I go into crime at the end of the day and I say, oh, please, I'm sorry, I'm confessing, I'm going to be treated well, even schooled and all of that. So no wonder crime continue to wax great. We are not saying that there's actually any excuse for failure on the part of the people, because what is what doing is what doing well. What is wrong is actually wrong. And so we shouldn't throw the part of crime. That's like injustice or wickedness to humanity. Nobody has the right to take anybody's life. It is our fundamental human right to live. So you don't have the right to take anybody's life. Everyone has the right to life. So it should be protected, and no wonder we continue to call on government, the appropriate authority, to take full responsibility, because their primary responsibility, as stated in the Constitution, is protection of lives and properties. And still talking about the challenges that are bedeviling Nigeria, one of it is the issue of the removal of fuel subsidy. And of course, even the SGF made reference to that one of the economic challenges that Nigerians are faced with currently is the removal. Most people talk about the fact, oh, it is a welcome idea. But what methodology was used? You recall that it was on May 29th during the inauguration of the president. I just said, fuel subsidy gone. And immediately we saw implementation by marketers and then other bodies. And who is made to face the challenge right there? It is the common man on the street. You have to when you bought public transport, if you used to pay say 1,000, they tell you it's now 2,000, and then you start asking, where do I get the money? Stagnated salary? No, like even when you say, oh, I want to do some forms of businesses or other things, like the environment is not really conducive and all of that. So talking about the issue of fuel subsidy removal, which obviously have brought about pain, hardship to the people, because you are there in between bills, you are in between an expensive access to healthcare, education, transportation and all. I recall that the government continued to say, oh, other sectors have been suffering because we have been paying for fuel subsidy. So we need to remove it, because it's just to the benefit of few individuals. We've had cases where this oil is being stolen and then take it to other countries. We've seen how that some people from other African countries protesting the removal and threatening to hike prices. It was really obvious, even though there was no arrest. They made videos and everyone saw it online, but there was actually no arrest. Even the people that have been stealing the money, nobody has arrested anybody, but yet Nigerians are made to pay the price. We know that policies comes with, you have pain, you have to endure it, because it can take 6 to 2 years before you start benefiting from it. But the past few months has been like 3 years, has been like 10 years for a lot of Nigerians, because if you used to take half your meals 111, it's either 011 or 010, because everything is just expensive. And that has led the NLC, Nigerian Labour Congress, to actually meet with federal government, but apparently it's like the meeting has been ended in deadlock. We've been having warning strike, threats of even embarking on strike. They have been saying, oh, Nigerians, prepare, we're going to shut down, and all of that. I'm concerned about this issue of NLC. Each time you go on papers, you see, oh, NLC are threatening and all of that. Apart from strike, what's the way out? Because the welfare is not just to Nigerian workers. Nigerian workers is just a segment of the population. So while we're talking about providing all of this palliative, what about the general public? Because there are those that are not workers, like civil servants and all of that. what is actually the way out. People are always asking, even when you go on strike, it's the common man that still suffer it. These big people are just seated, or they are not even in the country, and they have access to almost everything. What better option can we have apart from this issue of strike, even though palliative have already been distributed to governors? But I'm very sure you are yet to receive anything. Neither have I received anything from anywhere, because when you ask people, they tell you, we no longer have middle class. It's either you're rich or you're poor. So who is supposed to get the palliative? The poor. Have not received anything.
Jakada. Can you give somebody shit on a ladder to tell him to go and sell to the people? The answer is no. One thing with this country is we arrest before investigation instead of investigate before arrest. Now, you bring or you pull out a tenant in the house, telling the tenant you want to renovate, what the tenant's, let me say, his limit of staying in the house of rent is not expired. If you want to bring him out, you could have planned for where you are going to keep the tenants, pending when you renovate the house. Now you bring subsidy. What do you have on ground for the people, for the citizens, as a way to minimize their sufferings? You bring subsidy without taking measure in place to see that at least the people or the poor masses will not feel the subsidy. Take a look at Lagos. Look at Borno. The governor did well using the palliative funds to buy more cars, luxurious buses for workers whatsoever, not only workers, for the people to be able to enter, to travel, or to go anywhere they want to go with low price. I'm in line with the NLC, with the strike, because people are suffering, just as you said. If you want to go out now, you must have no more than 1,000 in your pocket to go to a short place to come back. As long as I'm concerned, if you want to bring all these things and it's going to bring negative impact to your citizens, I don't think it's allowed. I don't think it's allowed. NSC on the right path, I'm with them. Because the government, they are doing it, and even the House agree that what the president did by removing subsidy, they agree with it because they are the high class. They fuel their car, their houses, they give them allowances, so they will not feel the pains.
But part of the demand of NLC is the provision of the palliative, and which the government have done that. So why should they? Because TUC now, a part of the NLC, have come out to say we are not going on strike, because part of the demands is the provision of palliative, and the federal government has, to some extent, have done something about it. So why the threat on strike and all of that?
How many states have been used? They use the money that have been given to them. How many states? So
shouldn't it be an issue of monitoring to ensure that the state governors have actually distributed it instead of the strike?
Oh, the state government will not know everybody. The state government will not know everybody. The NLC, they are down from the grassroots. They know what their people are facing.
So don't you think they should rather resort to monitoring to ensure the distribution rather than the strike?
Is the government going to pay them on the monitoring?
Because some people have talked about the fact that this body has been compromised. It's more like about personal interests. There's an interest that people are trying to protect and all of that.
I will not say that because I'm not a member or an escort of the NSC. I will not speak on behalf of the NSC. What I know is that no matter how many numbers of people you have, you must have a Judas. I have heard some people are saying that the NLC are more selfish because they depend on their own. Well, some of them will say, after the NRC escorts go to the presidency, they will go back with money bags. And before they come back, they will say they have called off the strike. But I know such things happen. But within them, there are people that are good. Number one, why are they going to strike? Number one is because of the source of the, because the suffering of the people. If the people are suffering, they are seeing it. So the only thing they want to do is for the government to bring palliative to the people. I have seen people that used to go to work every Monday to Fridays. And in other places, you find out that some people go to work 2 times or 3 times a week. Why this conflicting of working plans? Why this conflicting? If you cannot have anything on ground for them to bring down the cost of living for the workers, then I think strike will be the best. Strike will be the best. So, if palliative has been released to the government, I think the government or the governor needs to call all the NLC ESCOs to sit down to look at the modalities. How are we going to distribute these things? I am not of the opinion that saying that they should use the money to give the victims 1 million or to give the workers 3 million. The only thing, you should just bring something on ground that will ease the suffering.
That's true. That's true. You know, people have shared concern about the fact that, okay, if the subsidy has been removed, we should feel the impact in health. We should feel the impact in education, infrastructure, amongst many other sectors. But obviously now what we are seeing is that in other sectors too are becoming more expensive, because right now it's more like we're having a situation where more students have to drop out from school because they can't afford the fees, the charges. Even though they say, oh, tuition fees free, but the charges have increased. Like people, some institution, you have over 100,000 from, let's say, 45,000. That's more than even 100% in increase. So it's more like a situation where you remove the subsidy, yet we're not feeling the impact in other sectors. So where is the money you're just going to provide palliative? If, for example, food is being shared, when it finishes, what happens next?
What happens next? Because
that's the question. What matter the modalities, be it money or food items, when it finishes, what happens? So if this subsidy is being removed, a lot of expectation is that let's feel the impact on other sectors.
Yes,
let's have access to healthcare.
Yes,
let's have access to education.
Yes,
let's also have good transportation. Let's have infrastructural development and all of that. And by the way, our phone lines are now open for you to call in and add your voice. We are discussing Nigeria at 63, the journey to nationhood. Do well to call and add your voice ahead of the 63rd Independence Day anniversary. But earlier on, I heard you talk about the fact that, oh, we have issue of leadership. I want to ask this question at this juncture. Do you think that what we need is in this nation is reform, or maybe we need to work on character deficiency? Because I've heard people talk about the fact that, see, we need reforms in our civil service, we need reforms, we need to reform our constitution needs review, we need to change, we need to embellish, and then other people are opining, see, the issue in Nigeria is leadership. We have issue of character deficiency, greed, corruption, lack of political will. Like this has come more like it's something that has come to stay with us. A lot of administration have come and gone, but you keep hearing issues of embezzlement, siphoning of public funds, and of more concern is the fact that nobody is held accountable. Where are we getting it wrong? Is it really reform that we need, or we need to work on the character deficiency, or perhaps we need the two?
I think character deficiency, I will look at is character modification. We need to change the way we eat. We need to change the way we govern. We need to change the way we even eat. If we don't change, definitely our offspring will be polluted. Why our leaders are not doing the right thing is because we don't even know how to choose our leaders. we want to choose our leaders, we always look at the monetary aspect. We are not looking at the competency.
The highest bidder.
The highest bidder. We don't look at the competency of that person. If we look at the competency of that person, I am telling you, we'll get a good leader. But today, all this hanky-panky, all this brouhaha that is happening is because we have already monetized the atmosphere of selection of leadership. Today, if I, Emma Stoneway, want to contest, they will say, do I have money?
That's the first criteria.
That is the point. Do I have money? Just by the fact that they know that I can do it, but they will say, do I have money? If today I spend money, are you elected me to govern you or to head you? Do you think I will stand or I will sit in the seat of that leadership as if it is the people that elected me? I will not look at that. I will look at, I have bought them with money. So the money I have spent, let me recover it with even interest.
So is that the cases with our leaders?
That is the case of our leaders.
Some of our leaders, perhaps.
Yes, I would say our leaders, because even 90% of our leaders are corrupt. It's only 10% that are good. So what are you telling me? If today the problem it is we, the masses, we are always on the materialistic things of the earth, what they will give, not looking at what you can offer. Is such person to be a leader? What do you expect that person to do? That person will just look at it, let me just make my money. Anything that comes, let me get interest first. Without minding what these people are facing. You like this, rightly said, there's no arrest. If anything there is no arrest, there's no checkmating. That's what we call checkmating. If you give somebody a portfolio, you are supposed to have a committee or a director of research and documentation that will evaluate those you have given portfolio in your administration to see their performance, to evaluate their performance. Anybody that didn't perform well, you opt out. But where are we today? We bring our friends into our administration. We bring our relations into our administration. Then definitely deficiency will come in. Deficiency will come in. So that is where I'm looking at. We need to change the attitude of selection of leaders.
Everybody actually have a part to play, because when you look at the people that end up emerging as leaders, they are actually elected going by INEC's declaration. You hear, oh, this person has the total, has the highest. Sometimes you ask, when you hear people complain about leaders, and you keep asking, who voted them? Because of course, some people, whether we like it or not, there are people that vote these people.
Yes,
so on what basis are you voting some of these leaders?
Yes.
Because when we don't take responsibility, when we don't do the right thing, we keep moving on the same circle. Like I said earlier on, we've had transitions from one administration to the other, and yet you see some of the issues we keep talking about are almost the same. Issue of insecurity, issue of corruption, issue of unemployment, poverty, and all of these that continue to live with us are issues that people have likened to issue of leadership. If we have leaders that are innovative, leaders that are creative, then this innovation, this creative mindset can help deal with the challenges that we are faced with as a nation.
Yes, of
but
course.
what are the criteria that we look at when voting? Like you rightly said, do you have money? And then someone that spends money to come into power, if the process that brings him is not even excellent, you don't even expect,
what do you expect from him?
Excellence from the person. Because
from him?
the first thing the person will be thinking of is how to embezzle, how to actually enrich himself. In fact, your people will tell you, see, this is your time. Go and have your share of the national cake. But if our voices are together, if we put our voice together to do the right thing, by ensuring that we bring in right leaders, even when leaders emerge, we hold them accountable, because most times we have a lot of expectations without holding these people accountable. What does the office require? How many of us even know the people that are representing us? How many of us know what is required? How many of us even follow the plenary to see, oh, is my own representative sleeping or is actually contributing? Or we just wait for them to come home, then we rush to their houses as early as 8 a.m. to
get.
So we need to be up and about in terms of ensuring we
Jakara,
have the right people.
there's this notion that people always say on the street. If you're a leader or a civil servant, be a director whatsoever, retired, or being an appointee of leadership or politician, you come out without even having any house or a big mansion. Do you know what people say? Look at this man. He is a commissioner, he's a director.
Former rich man.
He doesn't have anything. This guy is a fool. What are they telling that person to do? Or we that are yet to become like that person? Since we don't want people to insult us. So they are telling us to go and embezzle. Any person that doesn't embezzle, he cannot go on the street and be walking. They will start insulting him. Do you know who are insulting him? Even the poor masses. They are the one they will insult him instead of them to honor him. To look at him as a legend. But today, it is people that embezzle that have been honored. Even in the down society. So what are we? What legacy are we leaving? So I think the problem is from we the masses. Because we don't support each other. A crime will happen, nobody will come to the police. Even they see it. They are waiting for police to say, anybody with useful information. We are going to give him 10 million or 5 million. That's where you see all the masses will start going like rat race. Trying to look at, let me go be the first to give information, to get money. So I think even the masses, were the cause of the problem ourselves. When we change, we will know how to get our leaders, better ones, to lead us.
Well, we really have a role to play in ensuring a better Nigeria.
Yes,
whether we like it or not, this is our country. We do not have another one. So
Yes,
whether you want
course.
to celebrate the Independence Day anniversary or you do not want to celebrate, we must be grateful that we have a nation.
Yes, of course.
Wherever you go to, there's no place like home. Like we often say, this is home, and we must get it working. And together, we can actually make that possible. There's this thing that is common among young people, Japa. Everybody's just looking for an opportunity to just leave the country. They tell you, see, if you remain here, you will remain poor. You have to just look for the opportunity to go out there. Even when you stay back, you say you want to go to school. Look at the issue of these Zamfara students that were kidnapped. They were in school. They said, no, we don't want to be a problem to our society. We want to get education and actually contribute to nation building. But even at the school, we've had cases of abduction across schools in Nigeria. And this is not a good one for the country, because if people can no longer go to school, it's a problem, because a nation that is not educated or is without education, then there's no place for actually development. And we've always seen situations where people from Nigeria go to other countries and they are doing well. And they are celebrated out there. There's a story that was told of a politician that left for treatment, and it was a Nigerian doctor that treated him outside the country, and he was wondering, so what was the essence of going out there? So it means if the environment, if everything that is supposed to be here is done, because sometimes when these people go on strike, they tell you there's no equipment in the hospitals, the working environment is not conducive, government are not doing this, government are not doing that. When you tell students will say, if you go to higher institution in Nigeria, you will spend course that is supposed to be 4 years, you end up spending 8 years, 6 years, and all of that. So they just want to go. Evidently, when they go out there, we see them succeeding there. We see them being celebrated. My question is this, because we are not absent of talents in Nigeria. We're not absent of gifted people, people that are intellectually gifted, people that are endowed. No wonder we often see them on the news. They are being celebrated. What do you think of the place of human capital development? Some people have opined that, see, our problem as a nation is population. We do not have control. Nigeria has over 200 million people. But I want to beg to disagree, because I've seen countries like China that making
they don't have they don't even have even one minerals.
They are taking advantage of their population.
Yes.
So how can we invest in, what's the role of or the place of human capital development in helping us out of the quagmire that we found ourselves, poverty, unemployment, and then all of the issues that we have?
You see, the one thing I want to give you is this. If you are watching football, international football, any footballer that died, they will honor that person before the football will kickstart. But in Nigeria today, any footballer that died, a footballer that died, they are forgetting about him. Just recently, the Falcons, they play very well, but they have issues on their allowances. What is the problem? What are they telling us? That the money is there, but they don't want to pay them. So that kills the morals of people. You talk about Japa in Nigeria. You go to school, you suffer. You finish school, you suffer. You want to collect results, you suffer. After college result, you want to look for a job, you suffer. When you are doing the job, you suffer. You retire, you suffer. That's nothing good. They're supposed to have a department that would check balance or reward those that are contributing to the success of the country.
But do you not think that some of the issues that we have in terms of education now, maybe a lot of emphasis on certificates, because there are a lot of graduates, people that have graduated, they have the certificate, but they can't solve problem. In other clients, you see people that are skilled. At 20, 18, you see young people handling contract. Like they could do a lot of things. But maybe our educational system does not encourage skills, or it doesn't empower people.
That is what I want to say.
Because there are a lot of graduates. We have people with certificate. But when it comes to solving problem, and this is what employers are looking for. People that are skilled, people that can like bring results. When it comes to problem, they solve.
Are they given a chance? Have they given a chance? You find that the people that graduate, they are not given a chance to contribute their quota. Even in employment, you find out that somebody that has only first class and 2 upper that is qualified to be employed. But in China, that you rightly said, do they care about certificates? It is what you can contribute. There are many people that are not good academically, but skillfully, they are good. But in Nigeria, we don't look at that. It is what you have. Let's see, let's hear you.
Who you know.
You know that kind of thing. You know that kind of thing. So it is what you have. What can you offer? That is the first place that Nigerians are supposed to be looking at. Not, you must have a first class whatsoever. So today, the doctors have not been taken care of. But when the Japa, they have a good environment there. Go to other countries, development countries, you find out that somebody that even is not up to 60 years, despite the fact that maybe the retirement age or the retirement year is 35, you see the 25, they start resigning, retiring. It's because the environment is more conducive for them. But today, somebody that is up to 60 years that is retired, you go back and backdate his debt. Because you don't want to go back and suffer. So we need to look at all this so that we know that our country, we have everything, but we always depend on oil. We always depend on oil, but we have all the mineral resources. Why we have unemployment in this country is because every state or federal establishment has been dilapidated. Look at that Kogi something. I forget the name. Jakuta. Look at that Jakuta. Come to Plateau State. Look at Mado. Look at Plateau Hotel. All die off. The government are not ready either to privatize all these places so that more jobs will be created. Is that they leave it dormant? And where do you want people to go in? Where every year we graduate more people. And we are not even enhancing skill acquisition programs.
Okay, I want us to actually talk about the hope thereafter, because we're looking at Nigeria at 63. And then in some hours' time, like it's less than 48 hours right now, we're going to be saying You'll be
Happy
seeing the happy
independence.
independence all over. What do you think about the progress of Nigeria in the last 6 decades plus? Like, and then are there actually hindrances to this sustainable development? Because in the past, like our founding fathers, sometimes I ask if they are to come, or if they are like we are to ask question and then we'll get answer. Would they be happy with the current leaders that we have? Would they be happy? Would they be proud that they actually fought for this independence? Like this 6 decade plus of independence, like what do you make of it? And then if there are hindrances, like people highlight, and also adding to the theme that the federal government have actually come up with, talking about Nigeria 66, 63, renewed hope for unity and prosperity. Like, what will it take for us to have this in reality? Recall that I said earlier on, while the SGF was actually expressing optimism and saying, oh, this year, this is the thing that federal government have come up with, a lot of Nigerians will be asking, like, what ground? Where's the renewed hope? Where's the prosperity? He was actually talking about the fact that giving it to Nigerians, we are unlike other West African countries that will see coup taking place and all of that. He talked about the fact that, oh, we came out, we voted for our leaders, and then they are here to serve us, and no wonder the renewed hope, prosperity, and all of that. What would it take for us to actually have this renewed hope for unity, prosperity? What would it actually take?
I think one, first of all, is integrity. Integrity. If our leaders love us, they will surely do it well. Because I've had many people that are coming as new people. They will say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do that. They should leave tribalism. They should look at who is fit in that position. Tomorrow we are going to celebrate 63. I am telling the truth. Based on me, I'm being realistic. I have hope that Nigeria is going to become better tomorrow. But I still don't have hope that Nigeria is not going to become better. Why do I say Nigeria is going to become better? Because even when I was young, they say, we are children, that we are leaders of tomorrow. I've never seen any leader of tomorrow today.
Well, it's actually interesting to know that Nigerians are still hopeful regardless of the challenges. We're still hopeful, and that is the thing for me. When you go back to our national anthem, I know that a lot of people will tell you that, oh no, like there's no need to actually recite the national anthem. Of what point? Why will I keep serving Nigeria? Nigeria is not doing nothing to me. Yes, it's not even serving me. So there's actually no point for me actually serving the nation. But regardless, we're talking about 6 decades plus of independence. There are other people out there, other countries that didn't see to that. But since we are alive, there is actually hope. There's light at the end of the tunnel. So arise, O compatriots. So let's do the needful. Let's be optimistic. Let's be patriotic. Let's ensure that we play our part in ensuring that this effort by our founding fathers do not go in vain. But in our own little corners, we'll contribute our best for to get the desired nation of our dream. Democracy is indeed the theory that the common people know what they want and deserve to get it. Real good and hard. Thank you so much, Honorable, for making our time to speak with us. And to our viewers out there, thank you so much for staying with us on today's edition of National Talk. Until we come your way next week with another edition, you have a blessed day.